Boot fans, welcome on into Boots and Bands. This is our weekly show. Today is Tuesday. It's a little bit different. We're running a day behind, but we've still got plenty of quality info to bring you on the previous week. Boots, Rich, how you doing, bud?
Not too bad. I believe it was a wet Monday night in Stoke yesterday, so we had to postpone.
Yeah, it was a really wet night in Sacramento as well, so
Now,
that's my excuse.
well, it's always a wet night in Stoke. Otherwise the analogy doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. We have a lot of classy stuff to go through today. We're gonna. Oh, hold up 1 second. I can hear myself talking.
Oh,
There you go, Rich.
that's,
Did you hear yourself talking?
no, I can't hear myself talking.
I had our
Well,
YouTube. I had our YouTube going
well,
at
I
the same time.
can, but I'm not hearing it in stereo. I'm just hearing it as I say it.
We got plenty going on today. We got the. We're gonna call this the very classy episode.
I feel underdressed then, if that's the case.
Traditional old school. You look pretty good. What kind of a hat you got on right there?
This is the Winnipeg Jets the old school classic Winnipeg Jets logo. So yeah, we're going classic today.
It's kind of classy. We got the pure leather pack that was released in the past few days. Yesterday, got the Predator Night Charge at 50. We're going to talk through them. We got the Puma King SL Classico, which I have right here. We got the Free Football Crazy Quick, which is not necessarily classic, but we got to throw in something new school. We got the Couple Money Out Blackouts I have here. Some other boots. Maybe you'll throw in one or two. We'll talk a little bit about Warrior, and then we'll finish up for this week. That's how it's going to roll.
Sounds like we got a lot to cover.
We do. I'm going to kick it off with that classy-looking pure leather pack, which I'm going to pull up an image of so we can check out. First one right here, from left to right, we've got the Predator, Nitro Charge, and the F50. That's classy.
They are classy. I mean, the Nitro Charge looks a little bit weird. I mean, I think it's because I'm so used to it having that energy sling pack that across the middle there, but it being gone kind of makes it look a little bit weird. It almost looks a little bit different. Like they could have done the stitching in the middle as opposed to having that big chunk of leather.
Yeah, it looks very different. I mean, performance-wise, you automatically know that the free boots are going to be completely different to what players are familiar with. Very interesting to see a K-letter and a Predator boot, and no lethal zones.
No, it's that.
They're going for something different, and you notice how the pattern of stitching is way different as well.
Yeah, no, it's an entirely. I'm curious. Like, is the pattern of stitching designed to sort of give you a little bit more of that, not lethal zone action, obviously, but it just gives something a little bit different? I'm not 100% sure on it. I mean, I do like if we had a side image of the Predator, I do like the absolutely massive strike zone that you have on the medial side of the boot. Medial,
Oh, okay.
middle.
Okay.
Yeah, on the other side. It's an absolutely massive strike zone, which makes it look very inviting for players who just like to absolutely ping shots in.
There's going to be a good shooting boot without having a power element.
That's my prediction at least.
Let me pull up another picture of them as well. Let me see what else we got going on here. Well, the other image I have that I want to pull up was the leather heel.
Okay, yep.
The logo on the heel. So let me just pull it up. Which is pretty classy. I mean, we're familiar with seeing this as like an indentation somewhere in the midfoot region, a very small, minimal design element that's added. And on this series, because it is all about pure leather, they've given it the gold system and added it to the heel region. So it's got a little bit of extra pop.
And they're highlighting the fact that these boots are definitely leather. As I'm sure most people know, that is apparent. That is widely regarded as the international symbol for genuine leather. I'm not sure how it came apart to be that how it came to be that symbol. I mean, it looks quite a bit like a puzzle piece, realistically. But yeah, no,
It's like a K
that's
leather
the
jigsaw.
symbol. Sorry, pardon?
It's like a K leather jigsaw.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, that's the idea. I mean, it's a jigsaw puzzle,
One
and
of the
it's
one of the most interesting elements to this entire pack is the fact that it's seen as a shock style release, which is really, really odd given the fact that they're a leather boot with a traditional black design. So it just shows you what the modern era of boots is all about. I mean, normally when we see boots released, and this is true too with the 11 Pro that was just released with that black design and the stripe through the middle, it didn't have that shock and awe factor as opposed to something like the Samba collection that was released with the 11 Pro, the previous version of the 11 Pro. So it's just unusual to see where we've come at a blackout design, or sorry, a traditional black design, black white design, is going to be seen as a shock release and limited edition as well, which is even more bizarre.
well, I can understand the limited edition bit because I know everybody at one point was getting away from that K leather and going into sort of like, you had Adidas went more to the Taurus leather, and Nike went more synthetic with the Kangalite material and everything else. So I can understand the idea of making it limited because it's K leather and everybody was trying to get away from, well, not trying to get away from it, but seemingly getting away from it, just leaving certain more iconic boots as K leather. But yeah, no, the black and white thing is fun for me to watch. As here you have a boot which 6-7 years ago even, that would be what you would find predominantly is an Adidas boot, black boot, 3 white stripes, away you go play. Now it's crazy colored boot, weird colored stripes, and that's the norm.
That's the norm, right? Ali just gave us a comment on YouTube, and he's pretty good comment. He says the Nitro Charge kind of has a modern day Copa Mundial look, which I just pulled up right there, which is kind of true. It does, other than
No,
that
it definitely does.
weird midsection. I mean, if that was still in, it would look pretty identical to some old school.
No, it definitely would. I know because like I say, I have turf mundials, and you have that straight cut across the forefoot pattern. So no, I can see exactly what Ollie's talking about there.
Yeah. And if you guys watching right now, I did leave a comment on YouTube. We want to know if you guys have picked up any new boots recently, if you got them in the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales, how much you got them for, and how you're enjoying the boots right now. So hit up the comment section, whether you're in England, Brazil, or Canada, or the US. Leave a comment down below. I'll be checking as we go along, and if I see any, I'll give you guys a shout out. Next up, we've got the King SL Classico right here, which we talked about a little bit last week, Rich, and then they arrived in one of 2001 pairs.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll let you have a little run through. Can you see them pretty clearly? You can see they've been worn, got some scuff marks on them. I had to break them out.
I was going to say, I would imagine that you'd have to break them out. I mean, there's 2001 of them, but, what's the use of just putting them somewhere and never touching them?
Yeah, there's definitely no point. Just a few things I noticed about them straight away. Obviously, you've got that soft leather upper. It is very soft, very supple. But they've also got an unusual, kind of like box toe design, like that square off, which is a little bit different. It's very, very snug against the forefoot. Very snug.
Oh, they've gone back to that old, like the V series.
Sort of. I mean, if you look down, it's not as prominent.
Not as boxed, but I can see what you're talking about. Yeah, they've gone back to the old like V110 series, sort of a hybrid sort of idea.
How good does that leather look? Can you see it?
That leather looks fantastic.
Other thing to note is the tongue. The tongue is obviously kind of like a flap tongue, but they've stitched it down. So it does fit over your laces, and you can actually. I've been tying my laces underneath, but it sits very nicely across it, so it doesn't
That's
raise up too far.
that's ingenious. I mean, oftentimes what you get is you get that option of you get the Velcro, and then the Velcro is put in a spot which makes it kind of difficult, and it flops up. So yeah, no, it'll be extra little bit of stitching to keep that buckled down. Genius.
Double layer right there. I know, right? So
Double
simple.
layer stitching. I mean, those are what? I think they released those boots just a wee bit, let's say a week and a half too late. They're about, well, not a week and a half, but maybe 2 weeks, because that is ideally, if you're gonna drop that boot, he just formally announced his retirement today. After a switch from Adidas, longtime Puma King wearer until he moved into the Evo Speed recently. That is what you should have Thierry Henry playing in when he was playing in the MLS playoffs. Those boots right there. That
makes a lot of sense. Or even right now, he should be the one that was used through the advertisement campaign, saying, hey, this is the retirement of Thierry Henry, and we're bringing out this extra special limited edition 2001 style boot with Thierry Henry's approval, seal of approval.
Yeah, no, that would have been perfect. I mean, yeah. Like I say, I would have loved to have seen him wearing those against, was it DC that they lost? Yeah, it was DC that they lost to in the playoffs. Yeah. No.
They lost to New England.
They lost to the refs. No, sorry. Yeah, it was when they beat New England. Yeah, they beat DC. I was watching that at work. Yeah, I was doing the old streamy thing because MLS was letting me watch it for free. So yeah, that would have been an ideal time if they just. And then we could have gone, what are these boots? Yeah. What is Thierry Henry wearing?
One other thing is the sole plate, which is pretty standard looking. It's got that spine in place, but it's very flexible. Very flexible.
That's really flexible, which I would not expect with that spine.
This is how they were right out of the box. So when I took them out of the box, I was able to do this. So they're very, very flexible. And I've got that spine through the midfoot to keep them a little bit more solid, give some support. So, cool boot. I'm actually going to wear these again tonight. I've got an indoor game tonight. Indoor on turf.
Indoor on turf? That should be all right. I mean, they're not conical. They're not conical studs, but they're not bad.
They got that mix.
They're not that. They're not bladed. They're a weird.
They should be all right.
Pentagon shape.
Should be all right. All right. Next up is a boot that you are going to have the honors of testing out, right? And we talked about these last week as well, and they also arrived in. Is the Crazy Quick. And I think the first thing you noted about them when I showed you a little bit earlier was that gray colorway.
They are gray, and that gives that sole that multicolored, almost like ice cream sprinkly colored sole plate there, even more pop on it. Because anything I've seen must have been high flash, because they looked white originally, but those are gray, and it's
gray.
They are an interesting looking boot. I can't wait to get them on a field. I can't wait to get them on turf, on the carpet as well that I play on, just to see what they look like. Because I know you said that they play a little bit more, but they're more geared towards the artificial grass sort of idea of turf as opposed to the old school turf.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, you can see with that traction system, it's got that rounded design.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks a little bit blurry on screen right now, but each of those little nubs is rounded, which is very unusual, and they're all different heights. So as I kind of look across, they're a lot longer here. The front, they're pretty short. The middle, they're a lot thinner and lower profile.
Mm-hmm. And you had them out last week, if I'm not mistaken.
I did. I'm sorry, but I had to take them out. You can kind of see that they're a little bit marked up as well. I mean, they got a little bit of scuffing across the front, but you should be good. I got some nice images in prior. But I had to just experience them once and see what they had to offer, especially that upper. It's got that unusual texture to it, that honeycomb style. And I had to try them out. And they were pretty nice. I mean, I wore them on turf, and they felt pretty decent. I'm not a big fan of anything that's not FG. To be quite honest, I am an FG wearer, conical studs. Anything low profile on AG surfaces, that's what I wear. When I wear boots like this, I always feel a little bit unstable. It's probably because I'm cutting and chopping all over the place, and I like to cut the surface. But these felt pretty good. I mean, I felt pretty confident in them. So yeah, I was
they
pleased.
They sound like they're. It sounds like if that's the case, yeah, with you cutting and chopping, you need that added traction, obviously, of like the FG plate. Whereas with me, it's all about comfort when I'm playing on turf. So
yeah,
that sounds like if it's like that, it's going to be sort of right up my alley.
Well, you're gonna have fun with them. Next up in our classic episode, which way should I go here? We'll go with the Copa Mundials, and this is the blackout Copa Mundial that was released. Remember the black/white pack?
Oh yes, the black/white. Yeah, the blackout whiteout.
Blackout whiteout. That was exactly it. Let me.
I should have picked up a white pair during Cyber Monday, so I could. Yeah,
that's right. There were plenty available. That's for sure. All right, let me change the camera so it stays on me. Okay. Here we go. All right. Well, it's your traditional Copa Mundial. Very, very classy. Very, very elegant. It's got that pretty, like that awesome leather smell, man. I love that smell. When I open up the box, it's the first thing you notice about the boots. But these are super classy. They've got some gold detailing, kind of in the same style as the pure leather pack.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, it's just classy as you would expect a Copa Mundial to be.
They are a boot that I have to, at some point, eventually get my hands on in an FG. I think I'd probably go whiteout, though. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, as long as you take the time to keep them clean.
Yeah, that's the problem. I say I go whiteout, but I only say that because of Stilian Petrov, who's playing over 35s in the UK right now. Yeah. He wears the whiteouts. But you know what? For sake of maintenance, I'd probably be smarter to have gone all black if I was to get a pair.
Yeah,
it's my one regret from Cyber Monday is not picking up a pair for $90.
Yeah, that was a pretty stellar deal. Well, you know what? Come January 1st, you might get another opportunity, Rich.
Are you saying that there's going to be a weird half off sale on January 1st?
I don't know. I'm just saying. You never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, I don't know, but you know. Well,
Pele 1970s. We might as well keep the classic boots coming in. A little bit more modern, but it's obviously got that black leather. I forget how many times this was treated. Is it treated 80 times or something?
Oh.
120 times or 250 times or something? I don't know. I remember when Pele Sports were releasing them, they had all these details about the leather, how it was treated, and you can see it's pretty well treated.
It's pretty glossy, I'll give it that.
It's glossy, man.
I haven't seen a boot that glossy since I had in the Diodora, the Italicas in the K leather.
Yeah.
And they had that really glossy.
In person, these are glossier.
I can imagine, because if they say that the camera adds 10 pounds. The camera also takes off about 10 coats of gloss.
That's what it is.
So yeah, so if it's 80, if they've treated it 80 times, then now it only looks like 70 to me. But
that's a substantial difference right there.
It's a substantial number. Even at 70.
For those that don't know, Pele Sports are no longer around. They say they're in a holding pattern, but that basically means that they're just not around anymore. Yeah, I don't want to say. I mean, they always have the opportunity to come back, right? If they say that they're in a holding pattern. So.
No, exactly. I mean, I once worked for a company who went into a holding pattern, and they left the market in Canada not too shortly after they went into the holding pattern. Mm. So anytime you say you're in a holding pattern, it's generally sort of parlance for we're not going to be doing much. And Pele Sports was one of those great companies where they had a good product, they had an idea, they just didn't have sort of the huge monetary backing that a lot of the company, but your Adidas, your Nike, your Puma, even your Umbro sort of have. They didn't have that sort of fiscal backing, so they made some good boosts, they changed some things, and then different things like with the Pele Trinity brought something different to the market, but they didn't have that ability to sort of catch on and maintain
that
that
killer
kind of
punch.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To grab the attention and make sure people bought. And I mean, one of the issues they had was their studs on the Trinity, and the studs were not very reliable, and a lot of people had problems with them. And although they were replacing the boots, it's never good when you're trying to release a new product and the studs are breaking out.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. It's difficult to market a boot with, hey, this is really really good and it's really really modern, and it costs the Trinity cost was it about $200
Yeah, it was
when
pretty
it first
close.
released?
A little
Yeah,
bit
so
less than 50.
you have a $200 boot, and then somebody wears it 3 times and they snap the blade off it, or they snap one of the studs off it, and then you send them another pair of $200 boots. Your overheads are going to be a lot. You're not making as much profit margin per pair of boots as an Adidas would be making, or a Nike, who can just, yeah, all right, what, you broke a stud on your F50, or you broke a stud on your Vapor, yeah, sure, here's another pair.
Yeah.
It costs us practically nothing, I suppose you could say. Well, it costs us something, but nothing in comparison to what it would cost a smaller company.
Yeah. Well, you know what Pele Sports should have done, or what they should do, is their apparel line, because their sneakers and their jackets, track jackets, t-shirts, futsal gear was awesome. Loved every piece of it, and if they were going to come back, that's what I'd like to see them
It'd be
doing.
nice to see them, yeah, go lifestyle.
Lifestyle, man. That's what they should. And Pele Sports as a brand should be a lifestyle brand. Get rid of the boots, just give us the lifestyle apparel. I still have one of the jackets they sent me a long time ago. It's still like my go-to jacket. So, hey, I hear you have some boots for us. Just to note before you do get cracking and show us what you got in your hands right there. We got Willing Football.
Yep.
Our Brazilian friends are tuned in. Ollie wants to know how you feel about Thierry Henry retiring. My opinion is it was the right time, although he'll be sorely missed because he was a fantastic player.
I thought your opinion would be more along the idea of, well, at least now he can't hand the ball and cost us a World Cup spot.
Yeah, good riddance to him, man. You know, I've been over that for a while. That happened, and we missed out on our World Cup spot, but you know, you deal with it.
No, exactly. I mean, he's the player who he sort of sort of like stands out as like the player of like the early to mid part of the 2000s.
Yeah.
The guy who was doing like stuff that just made you go, what is that possible?
Yeah.
My favorite one is always my favorite move, and I've been trying to do it for years. I can never get it down because I don't have the coordination. Is when somebody plays the ball through to him, and he does that giant, large stutter step, and then hits the ball off his plant foot to play it on to somebody else while faking the shot.
So you haven't been able to pull that off. I'm so surprised.
I can't pull that off.
It's never happened?
This never happened intentionally. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I bet it's happened before. What boots you got for this right there? Pull them out.
What do I have? Now,
you must have something classic.
Do we want to go to Spain or do we want to go to Italy first?
Let's go Italian, because they're known for their good their heritage boots.
All right, so let's bring in a boot which the wonderful Lotto Stadio Primato K, which you can still find around for an absolute bargain. This is a boot which was sort of brought in by Lotto. I don't know how well you're seeing it here, Brian.
Yeah, you just raise it a little bit.
How's that?
Yep, you can see it right there. I have Lotto, so we'll be able to stick with you for this. Yeah, it's funny. Okay. I have a pair of these in a box stored in my boot storage area. I've never been worn, and they're like one of my pride and joys.
Yeah, they're a boot which, yeah, I picked this pair here in particular up for, I believe it was $35 at one point.
That would be right. They were listed at $35 at one point, and that was an absolute steal, because I remember trying to point it out and tell people to go and invest in a pair, which hopefully some people did listen to me on that. But
I actually invested in 2 pairs. I used to have an orange pair because it was the only pair I could find. But I had a buddy of mine who I was playing with in a league, and he broke his pair of shoes in a game, So I happened to have them just sitting in my bag as a backup. I believe I was actually wearing the black version here, the blacked out version. So I just threw him the orange pair, and I think I told him, because I've been wearing them for about half a year, I said, throw me $20 and we'll call it even. So
That's a good deal right there.
yeah, it's a good deal for him. He's still wearing those. I mean, this is a
Oh, he
boot.
is?
Oh yeah, this is a boot which was brought out to sort of compete with the Copa Mundial price-wise originally. It was about $100 when it first came out. But
Yeah.
then Lotto went to that. They went a little bit more modern. They got into the laceless stuff. They got into a lot more of that synthetic material. So the Stadio Promoto kind of fell by the wayside as a boot. Yeah, you saw it. You said like $35, which is
Classic boot.
a
Well
steal of a
worth it.
deal for a classy looking boot like this.
Steal of a deal. Before we go to the Spanish boots, what beer are we sponsored by this week?
This week, well, we were going to be sponsored by Kissmeyer Nordic Pale Ale, but
Right.
we had a fixture postponement, and that got consumed last night.
Oh,
So
darn it.
tonight we're I'll give you a quick rundown of Kissmeyer Nordic Pale Ale. Kissmeyer is he's a Danish guy. He does a deal in Canada with the brewery called Bo's All Natural, the one who had the Tom Green beer I was drinking last week, where he's what they call a gypsy brewer, in that he's a one-man guy, comes up with these recipes, brews them small scale, decides if they're good. Then he teams up with other brewers who have the capacity to produce it on a larger scale. It's sort of a new thing in brewing where, yeah, individual guys who have these recipes can market it to the masses.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool concept. Actually, a lot of it's out of Nordic countries too. So that was what was going to be the beer for last night, and that was what was going to be the message of it. But tonight, I just picked up. I was there. Was having a little bit of a nerd day today, playing board games all day with friends. So just hit up my local liquor store, and now we're drinking the Irish Cream Ale.
Oh, good choice right there.
Yeah, it was.
I was born in Kilkenny.
So there you go. I'm drinking the beer. If you're drinking the beer of your home.
My home city.
Your home city.
Nicely played. All right, Spanish. What do we got Spanish? Let's keep it
What do we got
moving.
for Spanish? We have something a little no longer available.
Yeah.
You have the Joma Granada. Potentially also not the Joma Granada Pulsor, even though it might be listed as that. The Pulsor had a different sole plate. This one here has a very sort of basic, classic Joma sole plate here. But great part about this boot, you have the all white K leather, wonderful design. I mean, you can see how supple the leather is, and this is something which I haven't even treated with anything yet. It's just really, really supple. It's some of the softest stuff. But fun bit about the Joma, the Granada, made in Spain.
Made in Spain.
So
how many boots made in Spain? So.
Well, I believe this is the only boot made in Spain.
There's another brand.
Well, there's Munich who do futsal stuff.
Yeah, Munich do futsal. They do some boots.
Oh, I've never seen them do boots. I've just seen their futsal stuff.
The last time I had the catalog, they had 2 pairs of boots in there. So.
Okay.
Yeah, very small scale, but they obviously, since they're involved with so much futsal, they probably want to get 1 or 2 outdoor boots in there as well. So.
Yeah, I know I haven't seen anybody. There's nobody I've seen playing around in, let's say, the Spanish league in La Liga, or even the second division there, Liga Adelante, I believe it's called, or can't remember the exact name of it. My Spanish isn't very good. By isn't very good, I mean non-existent. I can order up to 6 beers in a Spanish-speaking country.
You can give it to us.
Si es cerveza, por favor.
Oh, perfect.
So I can order up to 6.
Muchas gracias. Hey, shout out to Yaman. No, not your mom. I said Yaman.
Yaman?
He just bought the NitroCharge 1.0 second edition in the black metallic silver color. Got them at Adidas for $100 with a coupon, which is a pretty good deal.
That's a screaming deal.
Enjoying the updated energy sling. I actually did too. And the Traction 2.0 still apparent. Yeah, I enjoyed the updated energy sling as well. So Um, that's all we got comments wise. We still got the rest of those guys tuning in, but
Yeah, that's an interesting boot. I mean, it's the NitroCharge 1.0. Personally speaking, just from aesthetics, if you compare it to the original NitroCharge, the new one looks a little bit of a dog's breakfast when you have that the enlarged energy sling, which kind of cuts into sort of the aesthetical part of it. But
yeah,
you get more pop out of it. I mean that's the big thing is you get the performance of it as opposed to the slimmer energy sling of the original NitroCharge. So you're trading looks for performance, I suppose you could say, and
pretty much.
it don't have to look good if it performs well.
True that. Let's get some updates. Zlatan's still wearing the F50s, right? He hasn't done anything new.
Yeah, he's still strolling around and occasionally scoring ridiculous goals.
Van Persie still hasn't changed from his blackouts. We're still waiting for something to happen there.
That's the interesting one because because you can't get Van Persie's boot at all anywhere. It's not possible. Well, unless you happen to wear the same size shoes as him and he gives you a pair, then you can get the Van Persie boot. But it's so radical. Like we talk about the idea, and a lot of people say is well, you can never, if you buy an F50, you're not going to get the boot that Messi wears because Messi obviously wears a K leather edition, or at very least a leather edition with a customized stitching, or like when Marcelo from Real Madrid. We highlighted that he had that really customized leather F50, which had the stitching up the side of the boot as opposed to on the front of it. So it was a personal aspect for him. So you can't get these boots. Van Persie, you definitely can't because Van Persie favors the old Adi Power Predator sole plate.
Yeah.
But now he's wearing what is more than likely a K leather sort of F50-ish.
Yeah, it has that
sort of skin on the front of it, so it's entirely customized. It's a boot which, I mean, I can understand if he's out of contract, I can understand him blacking it out. But at the same time, if he's under contract, I can sort of understand Adidas, unless they're planning on releasing, let's say, an Adidas Van Persie. So doing it a blackout that way might be often see.
If that was the case, you'd assume that they'd put some sort of 3-stripe on it on the side just to say, hey, RVP is still in an Adidas boot. Whereas now you're looking at him and you're like, what the heck is he wearing?
But it's not. But when you have those guys, like when Nike was doing the Magistas, and they had players wearing them blacked out. You had Iniesta in training with them. You get that famous picture of Iniesta doing stretches in training at Barcelona with this weird blacked out boot in front of his head with this sock thing attached to it, but you didn't know what it was fully. So this could be the sort of ideas. If Adidas is planning, let's say, the Adidas Van Persie, and I don't know if they are. I don't think that they are. You would want to keep it sort of under wraps so that no one knows kind of what's going on.
Well, how long are you going to keep it under wraps? I mean,
that's the thing.
That's the thing. It doesn't make any sense.
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense that way. But at the same time, if he's wearing a boot which is just completely customized at the same time, do you really want to profile it? Do you really want to sit there and go? Then people are going to be like, well, why can't we get this boot? We get enough with Lionel Messi, and they make a Messi edition.
My goodness,
we can't get this boot.
There's too many Messi releases. Actually, that's something that we'll cover. We plan on, for you guys watching right now, we plan the next 2 weeks, kind of covering the year in review, taking an opportunity to talk about a lot of boots. And one of my points is going to be how bad Messi's customized boots have been this year. I'm sorry, but they've been atrocious. I'm not a fan of any of them. And I'm by no means a Messi hater because I absolutely love Messi. And people ask, well, who would you choose between Messi and Ronaldo? I'm kind of split 50-50 because they're completely different types of players. But we'll get into that next week. We'll talk more about that next week. Right here, we've got our latest on the Warrior New Balance.
Okay.
Update. So we got Vincent Company, who probably played his last game in a pair of Warrior boots since he got injured this weekend. We now know that New Balance are set to release early 2015, and I would assume that's going to be pretty early 2015, as they look to start the year afresh as it is. So he's been training in the middle picture, not a great picture, but he's been training in the blackout that Fellaini's wearing on the right-hand side. Fellaini's been training on them as well, even though he's still been playing in the Warrior boots. So it's starting to move along for them.
No, it's time to see what's going on. I mean, it'd be interesting because, I mean, Warrior had several different silos of boots. Fellaini was like the head guy of the Gambler. He was the big, like the focal point. Well, Thomas Ince was originally, and then
that's right.
Thomas Ince. Whatever happened to Thomas Ince? He's like been the biggest. He's been the next big thing for about 20 years. It feels.
Him and Zaha are like chilling out at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and he's been the next big thing for like years. If you read the English papers like I do, because I was born there, he's like the guy who's going to save England. But he was playing for Blackpool, or he's playing at Crystal Palace. He turned down Inter Milan to sign with Crystal Palace, sort of thing. It makes no sense.
Well, he turned down Liverpool as well.
Yeah, no. Well, he got released from Liverpool originally.
That's right.
But if we focus on the boots, as opposed to me going off topic on this idea of Thomas's, so you have, but it seems to be like sort of the boots for all sort of players almost right now, this New Balance boot. You have Company, the face of the Screamer line. Fellaini, who was a Gambler. You have Samir Nasri or Adnan Januzaj. Januzaj? Either way, I'm wrong. Januzaj? Timmy Cahill, who were all in the Superheat.
Yeah.
I mean, you have.
He's already been in the New Balance, so.
Exactly.
Well, the question is
Ramsey coming over.
The question is, could New Balance be about to release the greatest ever striking boot?
There have been some ridiculous goals worn in those boots.
I can't get over that Ramsey strike. It was incredible.
No, it's one of those ones where. Well, I didn't see the game, but I saw like the 6-second sort of Vine clip of it during the game.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones where you get a ball from there, and any Arsene Wenger coach team looks at it and goes, you don't shoot from there. You control the ball, and you move it on a diagonal pattern.
You pass it 10 times.
You move it diagonally, and then the guy who's at the corner of the 18-yard box, he moves it a little bit further down, so he's almost like, then he's completely perpendicular to the goal pretty much. And then, then what happens is, then you pass it back, and then you tack it over there, then you hit it here, then you might try a little dinky cross in the middle, and then somebody might hit it, and then, it eventually gets hit, but it's hit from like 7 yards. Not it gets whacked from about 30 yards, and it just screams its way into the net.
Yeah, it was a screamer. It was a classy goal, that's for sure.
And that's the thing is like, and is it the best? Have they cottoned on to something with the 3D pattern, with that 3D upper pattern that everybody seems to have? Because the Hypervenom, which originally came out, you weren't seeing goals like that.
No, but that's what they were intended to be, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they've spotted something that they could improve on. And that's the formula behind this carbon. Whereas Ramsey just was pretty lucky and struck it really well,
And then you have Aaron Ramsey as a guy who for years wore the Adidas Predator.
Right.
So he's used to all sort of different shooting elements on a boot. Now he comes into this, and
Well, I'm sure we're going to have an update pretty soon. We'll probably end up dedicating an episode when they finally do release. Hopefully our friends at New Balance are going to be happy to send us a pair to test out immediately.
To put through their paces, shall we say?
Put through their paces, yeah. We should.
I mean, it's
do a double review on that one.
That'd be a good one. I mean, the New Balance prototype, which is what I'm still calling it, is currently by the time it releases, it will be the most talked about boot that we have ever talked about. it works its way into pretty much of the 9 episodes we've done now. I think it's featured in 8.
It's been pretty much
I
every
believe
one.
last week we didn't talk about it.
They've
Like
been super smart.
Yeah, last week we didn't talk about it, and this week we're talking about it. And I think the other 7 episodes before that, we definitely had some sort of update.
Yeah, we did. So we're looking forward to hearing what they have coming next. All right, Rich, I think we should close out, man.
All right.
We appreciate you guys watching. If you guys can give us a thumbs up to let us know you were watching. I know that button is working again.
That's good news that it's working.
It's been tricky. Well, it's working for some people.
Ah.
So everybody needs to click it just to make sure that works.
Yeah. Make sure the button works.
Hit up the comment section below. And again, let me know if you've bought any boots recently, if you got them in for a deal. And I'm talking pre-Christmas. If you've bought any, you got them on a good deal. How much you got them for and how they've been performing. I'm interested to hear what you guys are wearing right now. Until next week, Rich, when we talk about the year in review 2014.
Have a good week. Are we doing a tentative bracket next week or no?
Oh yeah, we'll tease that. Yeah, we'll possibly do a bracket next week. So.
Nice. So I'm excited for that. Brian, have a good week. Guys, enjoy. It's time for me to drink some beer. Have a good night.
See you later, bud.